Welcome to Glastonbury, and especially welcome to Glastonbury Abbey. So there are the ruins of the Abbey in the background, but that's not the reason I'm standing in this spot. I'm standing here because of this stone. Now, I've never seen this before when I've come to the Abbey, and it's only through two oracle decks that I have. Rebecca Campbell's Stone Oracle, and also a recent one I've got, which is Cheryl Yambrack Rose's Avalon Visions. And both of them had cards on this stone. And this is its original place it was found in, but for many years, well, since the 70s apparently, a lady was just telling me, it was actually over behind the Abbot's Kitchens, over the back there. And a couple of years ago, they've moved it here, which is where it was originally found. Now, this is originally from the Tor, and there are other egg stones like it on the Tor. I haven't been to explore them yet. I did go up to the Tor this morning for sunrise. I woke at 4 a.m. I didn't want to set an alarm. I thought if I wake naturally, I'll go, because sunrise is like 5:15. So I knew I had to leave by 4:45 to walk up there. And this morning I did. And I was reading an article a few days ago saying that these egg stones are found on the Tor. But I didn't get a chance to explore it this morning, so I will go back. But they're a very feminine frequency. And actually, this is also known as the omphalos. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how it's spelled. and the omphalos is known from Delphi, because there is an omphalos there, larger than this one, which is, it was found right where, not where the Pythia used to do her oracling, but before the Pythia, she was called the Sibyl. And that's when she used to receive her messages from Gaia or Get. And there is an omphalos was on that site. It's now in the museum in Delphi. But this is another omphalos, and you can see it's got this little sacred little, sort of almost little altar within it. But it's a very powerful stone. And the fact is, oh, we've got a few people passing by, so it's going to get a little bit of noise here in a minute. But the fact is that, now I've forgotten what I was going to say. Oh, it's not marked. I had to go and ask someone where to find it. Like everything else has a sign and explanation, but not the egg stone. And yet these are such powerful stones. And like I was saying before, they're a very feminine energy. And so that's why that's very sacred to me, and I'm really happy. I can't wait to bring the ladies here next week when we come to the Abbey on our final day of our retreat. Now, the other sacred place here that has a very feminine energy is down there. That is the Ladies' Chapel, obviously named for Our Lady, Mary, but it has a crypt downstairs, and that crypt is called St. Joseph's Crypt, after Joseph of Arimathea. And of course, it was Joseph of Arimathea who, he was a guardian of really the whole Jesus-Mary story. Joseph was there as the guardian always. And Joseph, according to legend, Joseph brought Jesus here as a child. And so this is why, often this is said to be the first Christian place in Britain. Because the first small church was erected here. Anyway, the crypt is named after him in the Lady Chapel, and it is such a powerful place. Beneath the altar in the crypt, that's the crossing point for the Michael and the Mary lines, and it's so powerful. But you know what? Of course, they've cordoned it off now, haven't they? And so you could step over the rope and go in, but these days with cameras and whatever else, I'm sure you wouldn't be alone for long. However, when I was here 2 years ago, and I was here with my photographer friend, Karen, she was part of the retreat, and she took some photos of me at that altar. And you may have seen me, sort of a couple of my shots that I use for my promotional things have me at that altar. I'm so glad we took those photos while we could. So it's a really I'll always hold on to those images because it's such a powerful point and you can really feel the energy. You know, you may be aware that altars were always built over the powerful telluric currents because that's where the priest stood. And so if you ever are in a church and you get a chance to go behind that point, especially the ancient churches built over the pagan sites, they'll be the power point. And so that's why I wonder about why it's cordoned off there now. Anyway, we won't get conspiratorial, will we? However, this egg, it's just left there all on its own. I could probably sit on it really and do the video and no one would comment. Dear. Anyway, I am nearing the end of my pilgrimage now. This week is my final week on my own. The ladies arrive Monday. Well, they're arriving at different times, but we get together Monday evening for our opening circle in Chalice Well Gardens. We have private access. That will be amazing to be in those gardens on our own. Even though we're using the meeting room for our retreat, it's through the day when there'll be people in the gardens as well. So that starts on Monday, and those few days celebrating the feast of Mary Magdalene here on this very sacred, very powerful land is going to be the way I finish this journeying. And then I head back to Australia on Friday week, arriving Sunday morning. So I'm looking forward to going home, and I'm looking forward to have an opportunity to sit with the experiences I've had through this journeying. And if you've been following me here on YouTube or following me on SUBSTACK or on my Telegram channel, you will have got a chance to be a little bit more in depth with the journey with me. And it's in fact, you might have integrated more than I have because I just feel like I've been on the move so much. But this is a beautiful place to end. And I've been here a few times. I've been to Glastonbury. I think this is my 6th time, but this is the 4th year in a row that I've held a retreat here. And everyone always loves it. What I love about this land and this energy is that there's a real playfulness to it as well. And I think that's part of the whole new age vibe that the high street has with all its shops of every conceivable new age metaphysical type thing. But there's this, and also some of the characters that live here, there's this feeling of joy and play. And so I love that this is my final retreat here, well, and maybe in Europe for some time since I'm not returning next year. So I feel like we're going to go out with a bang, playing and celebrating the energy of Mary Magdalene. And I've talked a bit in the other videos about how my relationship with her has changed and what I feel the essence of her is and what it means to me. And I'll be doing a lot more exploration of that too, especially as I get back to Australia and I have time to integrate everything. And I'm already creating a course that will be offered from September, a 3-month course, and it will be called From the Divided Feminine to the Divine Feminine. I did call one of my videos that are here on YouTube, and it's actually going to be really about embodying the full Magdalene frequency. And what that means is embodying the dark goddess and the white goddess, because then you become the whole, then you become the complete feminine rather than the divided. And then that's what magnetizes in the sacred masculine frequency. And I often call that the rose goddess frequency, but it's our inner sacred masculine. And that is our empowered place. That is the space of the Magdalene. That's what the Magdalene codes are all about. That sacred union within, or what I've been calling harmonic resonance. That's what she represents. That's why her story has awakened at this time, because we feel that we are ready to move into that state of wholeness. This morning I did a wonderful, well, I say wonderful, I don't know if it was wonderful, but I enjoyed it. It was a channeling on a call. This is a group I have called the Wisdom from the Roseline, and each week I'm channeling a different Roseline being. And of course, because we're in Glastonbury, I knew it was going to be one of the Glastonbury Roseline beings that came through, and it was King Arthur, who is a guardian of the Roseline. That frequency is a guardian of the Roseline. And his message was beautiful. I don't share many of these messages because I'm actually compiling them for a book that will be released later this year, hopefully. But the message from King Arthur was all about, it was about how your light shines, I don't know, what was the wording? How your light illuminates your path, was something like that. But what he meant by that, and as I did the channeling, he was saying, as you move more into this harmonic resonance, into this sacred union, as you go on this inner journey to know thyself, since we're tapping into Delphi, and you become more complete within yourself, your light shines brighter. And the consequence of that is that you see more clearly what your path is. Not your whole path, but what the next step is, and the next step is. And the more you do that internal harmonizing and integrating of the yin and the yang and the spirit and matter, and move into that state of harmonic resonance, your light becomes brighter. And then it's so clear what your next step is. And that if a mist comes down and hides it from you, you go back in. Where am I out of harmony? Where am I out of balance? And as you restore that and reclaim that, your light shines brighter again. It was such a beautiful message from this sort of solar god energy. You know, King Arthur represents that. And he had his guardian, his guide, Merlin, just like Jesus represents that. And he had his guide, Joseph of Arimathea. So it was a really, really beautiful message. And it helped explain to me more of what this online journey I'm going to be holding later in the year, what it's all about, because this is where we're all at. This is why you're here. This is why you're watching me. This is why maybe you've been drawn to Glastonbury or some of the other sites that I've visited or other sacred places around the world. It's all to receive that energy from the earth. I mean, the earth is in harmony. And if she's not, she knows how to restore it. She's able to maintain that sort of state of equilibrium, even if that equilibrium sometimes means going a little bit more one way than the other, she can restore that. And this is what she's reminding us how to do. And when we come to these sacred places where these telluric currents are strong, we are being reminded of this is your natural state. And from this natural state, that's where you shine your light most brightly. That's where you truly share who you are with the earth. And this is not what you do. This is another thing that came up for me through the week. And I find more and more people I speak to are having a little bit of difficulty if they are being asked the question, you know, the standard question that the old 3D world that we were inhabiting used to ask is, what do you do? Now, if someone asks me that, I'm like, well, ever heard of the rose line? You know, it's a really difficult question because it's not about what we do anymore. It's about who we are. So how is it going to be when those questions become more about discovering who you are, what makes you tick, what lights you up, rather than the opening line at a dinner party or at a party or wherever saying, what do you do? It's so irrelevant now, don't you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Because then it becomes about seeing the person and not seeing the veneer, not seeing the role that society has sort of forced them to play. And also through seeing the person, you're seeing an evolution. Whereas a role does not necessarily describe an evolution of who you are, unless you get promoted. And then well, yeah, okay. So isn't that an interesting question? You know, for those of you who maybe some of you are still working in jobs and there is a title and you can answer that, but I bet you still feel uncomfortable with answering that because it's like, well, but hang on, that's not who I am. You know, at the moment, that's maybe the way the income's coming in, but it's not who I am. As we move more into this integration, this harmonizing between who we, you know, the both sides of ourselves, the right brain and left brain, or our yin yang, however you want to look at it, and between our spirit and matter, it's almost like we will just laugh more and more at that question because it will be so irrelevant to the way we're living life. The crows are having a little party to agree with me there. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in because that came through strongly this week, and it all goes into supporting what I'm talking about here with this this divine integration, this sacred integration of who you are. Anyway, on that note, let me just give you a little 360. As you can see, it's very dry here. I've never seen it this dry, but because of the heat that has been experienced through Europe and also here in the UK, things are looking a little dry. So there you go. One last look. There we go. Let's go in a little closer. There she is. Call on her magic today. If you've been following me on Substack, you'll see I've been putting notes every day. Glastonbury magic #1, Glastonbury magic #2. I tell you what, it's very easy to find magic here in Glastonbury. On that note, I'm going to go for a beautiful walk around this nature, maybe record a couple of activations for my clients, and go and find a nice place for lunch. Thanks for joining me here in Glastonbury. I may get a chance. I'd love to do one from Chalice Well Gardens. So let's see how I go. Rose blessings to you.